Can you hear me? Can you hear any music? Let's see how much more stuff I need to deal with. Please say yes if you can hear me. Hi, Shelby. You wanna come say hi? Wanna come and say hi? Great. Hi, everybody. Hello. Hello, Sappy's here. I'm here. The music, isn't that nice and relaxing over here? Nice. It's called Nebular Focus by Dan Henning. So I think my computer realized that I'm on a different time zone and it didn't let me go forward, which is a nice kind of like security kind of like thing included in here. And it's kind of nice, and as you can see, I have a helper. I have a helper, and this is my new quote-unquote studio. I'm not at the same table where I was before. Can you guys hear me okay? Because my microphone holder, rather to say, got damaged in a move, and I was trying to find all the screws and all of that. There is like such a thing that is called shock mount that you adjust to it. And the shock mount has a little kind of like elastic around it, and somehow, probably because it was in the trunk of my car and it was a severe heat wave, it got really damaged. So right now I'm just doing the Yeti stand on its regular stand, so I'm hoping it's not going to have too much of echo as well. So I am doing good tarot because it does make sense. Let's put my keyboard here. I guess I have to find comfort in how to set up my studio in order to make sense. I did a few readings already with this. I have lost my cat ring, but I'm going to survive. So let's see who is here. I saw Knitting Yogi was the first one to the gate. Like, so nice to hear. Actually, do you know that Knitting Yogi and I are sort of neighbors right now? I moved to New Brunswick, which is very close to Maine, where she is. And here is, guys, this is like heaven. It's like living in a park. People are so nice and relaxed. Just somebody buzzed the door seconds ago. I go, oh, English or French, because they equally speak English and French. So I'm looking forward to brushing up on my French or relearning it. To be honest. So Barbie's here. Hello, happy Saturday. Who else is here? What, we have 2 viewers? This is just us. Well, so be it. I know it was a long gap, but here I am jumping into Libra season. So happy October to everybody. We are doing the October of China. Who is here? Kelsey is here. Here we are collecting our kind of like guides over here. So I prepared a deck for our questions that we're going to have there. I'm going to be using Gypsy deck if we need any clarifiers. It's kind of like weird, you're seeing when you don't use card for a bit, how they really get stuck. So I guess maybe a little bit of alcohol cleaning of everything. I'm just, guys, so tired. I was thinking about putting a collection of photographs to show you what I'm going through, because I'm going through renovations. So that means I have people around me from, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning to about 9 at night. I'm assisting all of them, get this, go there. So I actually don't have a chunk even of an hour for me. So believe it or not, even for the readings, I did manage to squeeze one yesterday, but it's just kind of like almost going out on a limb and doing it very tired. When I'm very tired. So that's going to slow down a little bit next week with just them having one shift. And this is going to wait, and I'm going to turn off my phone. Nothing is that important. I decided that anything can wait. So I'm getting lots of calls from, I don't know if you guys in the other countries have this, like we have people offering you duct work, which is basically fraud, people telling you that they are coming to arrest you, which is fraud. Oh, look at the sunshine is coming through. And it's unfortunately because I pick up the phone not knowing if it's a client or something, and then the moment, oh, it's live, and they put me in more and more lists. So that's where I'm kind of like stopping to respond kind of like further. So we are going right now through Libra season, guys, right? And I'm going to start with happy birthday to all my Libras. Our master moderator Barbie here is Libra. Oh, and I didn't get notepad, and I don't know even where I would find it right now with timestamps. So if somebody can also do the timestamps in addition to me, just in case I miss them, but I'm going to write them down here as well. So let's start with Libra. Libra. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you. And I wanted to do it last week, but it's just like the issue I have with my contractors is like, how to put it nicely, it's a low emotional intelligence. So if you do a trim in a room, just do caulking and fill the holes, and let's call it a day, the room is done. Instead, they do one thing, then they shuffle things in that room from another room. So every job takes 3 or 4 times the time. And when I finally clean the room, that I actually have the space for me to feel like, okay, this is life. Oh, look at it's empty space. Let me just dump something here. So it's constant struggle. So I had to fire one contractor who was also very, I would say, abusive. I guess happened. This is just normal thing with contractors. But now the next crew is actually working well, except they're a little bit slower. But slower is okay, right? Because it's kind of like working out. Safi has a pretty color, tell you what. Like, I mean, the first week I was here, workers left the door open, and Safi went, tee, 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 tee. Let me check New Brunswick. I want to see what's out. The little bastard went out, and it was like about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was looking and looking and looking and looking for her. I was like devastated, even made a poster, and I was handing, that's how I met all my neighbors, going door to door handing, hey, did you see this cat? So she doesn't have a microchip, she didn't have a collar. I was like really afraid how far she would kind of go. Like, I mean, 3 streets up from me is a main street, and she's just indoor cat, right? So I even camped on my deck to just like see if she's going to come, that she can smell me. You're supposed to not to go frantically and call them because your body smells different and they cannot recognize you. So finally, when I camped on my deck and I covered myself with a blanket, I started to sleep, but the mosquitoes were getting to me. And then I said, okay, I'm going to just go inside. I'm going to leave both doors open. And the moment when I got inside and I sat on my sofa, guess who's coming through the door? Like the little Safi. So that's how she got a little pretty collar with her name on it. It's still not much. She still can kind of like vanish, but since she was not that eager, she was really not that eager to go out. Now what she's eager to do, she's scratching my new armchairs that are really pretty. It's kind of like Art Deco style, and she likes to sharpen her nails on it. So I'm spraying them now with a little bit spray of apple cider vinegar, which I don't like to spray furniture with it, but it's working only partially over here. So let me put a new stamp for Libras, and let's start with you guys. So happy birthdays. This is my ascendant. So now I'm having a camera sideways, so please tell me how this setup works. You are my eyes and ears. How do you hear me? Let me know if we need to kind of like fix things up. So, oh my goodness, you have the Empress, which is your card. And then you also have Ace of Fire and you have 9 of Earth. So I just kind of imagine of something really even better coming through for October. So the Empress is really talking about all the goodness in you, all the maternal, all of that protective, everything that you care about. Libra has, like any other sign, like upper and lower, kind of like light and shadow kind of a thing. When you're in the light, you're almost like John Lennon, who was a Libra. I don't know if you heard about the comedian Norm Macdonald, a Canadian, who has just passed recently, I think a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't, check out his jokes, his famous moth joke. It kind of like they have a think about them. They come across kind of like toned down. They don't come across as pompous, and they outwardly crave harmony. The truth is, they are not earth sign. It's just kind of like, interesting, because Empress is Venus principle. Empress really shows both earth and air. It kind of like shows the collaboration of the two elements, right? And that's where people go wrong with Libra, because they do not understand what powerhouse they are, because they feel so amiable, they look kind of like friendly, and that's it. The mask goes off when you do something that is improper. You say a bad, inappropriate, or racist joke, and there goes your head. You're chewed in pieces. Like, all the politeness, all the manners go out of the window. You do not piss off Libra. But you're in luck this month. They are like on the Empress mode. So pretty much they're going to be about nurturing. But this nurturing, you also have to point out, it requests self-nurturing. Self-nurturing is, let me see, how do I do it? Because my camera is always looking crooked, and I don't know why, but I'm just trying to make it the way that you see it. But this is also kind of like pedicure. This is also manicure. Did you ever wanted to go to that restaurant that maybe you don't have a friend who wants to join you? Maybe it's too expensive for you to pay for a friend. Maybe you just don't think. Maybe you think they're going to mess up your enjoyment. Maybe you just simply want to treat yourself. You just want to have a day, right? And I think this is where we see what we see in Empress principle. And we do see there are certain things. Are you going to put your little fur ball butt in here? And you're going to see this combined with Ace of Fire. To me, it really speaks about new beginnings. We are going through Mercury retrograde. So your birthday is kind of like, hi, creative guru. Your birthday is kind of like positioned in a weird way, that, like you have to deal with things from the past, which is not fun, that you have assignment during your birthday. But this is actually good, because maybe you stay away from what you want to do, because clearly you are self-dedicated. Look at this. This is Nine of Earth as well, which almost looks to me that even though you are allowing other people to come into your life and to kind of like bring the energy, or you are willing to even give them that energy and kind of like have this like big motherly component, but this is also very seductive and very sexy component. But I do have to tell you that this is not so much a relationship configuration. Yes, this can be very much marriage and maternal, the ultimate woman, if you wish. So if you're a guy, you're meeting somebody like that who is like, oh my gosh, I'm just like not in her league, right? But if you're a woman, you're going to equally find that nobody's in your league, so you can as well pamper yourself, kind of a thing. That's where it's going to kind of like really, really work out. You should see Kitty Cat this morning, and I have to show you the video. In this place where I am, I'm really close to a river. I am in Moncton in New Brunswick, so it's a river that goes, I'm really close to it. Relatively close, I don't know, I would say 300 meters, something like that, maybe even less. So hence mosquitoes and bugs, but hence like pheasants. And this morning these pheasants actually come and walk on our front yards, and I'll show you a little video of this morning. And that's what you're hearing, the Safi.
Where's Birdie?
Trying to hunt. She's hearing herself now.
Birdie.
She's coming. How's it go? I'm showing the video with your commentary.
Where's Birdie? Where's
Can you see pheasants walking on my front lawn? And Safi trying to hit her lunch. One more. Yes, Safi, this is your sound, your voice. Could you recognize?
Where's Birdie?
Isn't this a joy when you have animals who are participating in the lunch hunting? Be careful. This is kind of a little broken. This little camera head is also broken. I have lots of broken pieces that came through it, and so there she is. She has to kind of like participate. So my dear Libra, I want to bring. Actually, I initially wanted to use gypsy cards, but now I'm more feeling that I want to grab I want to grab an oracle card here, rather, and just to give you maybe a little bit about relationships. Are you going to cover everything? They cannot see from her big butt. Look at how big is your butt. Mom is saying such a bad thing. Can you move your butt? Can you move your butt over here? Yeah, thank you very much. So Libra, she's losing her mind. I know, it's like, oh, and the bird is like so much bigger. She's like still, oh my gosh, Mom, we can have the food for the whole winter. It was like cute. So, oh my God, look at that, soulmates. So I really think this is more relating to you attracting like anybody. Like, I mean, absolutely anybody. So almost like people will be falling down at your feet. You're able to do whatever you want. You know, oh my gosh, isn't this like a lovely, lovely, lovely card? So, but I also feel that you have a huge level of independence over here. So even though, and this is very confusing for the other people, you're sending those vibes, lovey-dovey, I'm interested, and you love the attention, you love flirting. But what is really happening here is like that you're like sorting through the opportunities, sorting through what is quote unquote offered, right? You are kind of like finding something that will be probably best fit for you. So you're not negotiating on something that is not right. So soulmate, and I can read it for you if it's not self-explanatory. I just want to see if they have anything else. It talks about harmony, love, and friendship, companionship. But I want to in particular look for a relationship message over here. So it says, consider love in the deepest sense. Love so powerful that you will never be the same, regardless of how long your relationship lasts. Consider friendships and romantic bonds so compelling that they overwhelm you with gratitude or break you open so you will finally claim who you were meant to be. Even a companion animal reminds you that it is you who is being rescued and healed. Pay attention, for you are in the presence of a soulmate come to guide you home to the real you. It's just like a word of caution over here. Like in my karma reading, I see that a lot. I see it a lots of soulmates. I see a lots of karmic soulmates. I see sometimes twin flames. It's very rare and it's very painful. Nothing to really crave for. It's like moth to the flame. You just really don't want to be burned, kind of a thing. But what I'm seeing over here is that because you have been reincarnated as Libra, that many people will put you in their chart because of these harmonious aspects that you can bring to their life path, right? So that means being called upon to different situations and different variations where you can add your 2 cents. So there are lots of soulmates. You need to find the one that suits you. So you really will go with your gut feeling over here, and it is really good on you. So there you go. I spent a big chunk of time on Libra because you waited and wanted to have that before your transition. So for those of you who already celebrated a happy belated birthday, and I really hope you really have the rest of the time. Okay, keep in mind this is like effective the entire month. So now, where are my little thingies? I forgot about my little paperwork that I know I've seen it somewhere, and I think I even packaged it to see who is next, which sign will go next. And see, it's kind of like lots of elements here that I need to really work with. Before I had it round table, it's more giving. And why I cannot go there now? Please. Yeah. No, I just want to pull it up. All right, so Libra, we are going to turn you off, and we are going to go in the next sign, which I can even put in here. And the next one will be Scorpio. Scorpios, guys, ladies, you are next. Scorpio. And if you're hearing me being very relaxed, I'm actually not tired. I'm just like very relaxed because I did say to everybody that Saturday is off limits as of this day on, that I really want to do this kind of like studio and everything, and it just would be impossible for me to focus properly. So I did get longer sleep until 9, and I'm feeling really kind of like vacation-y, kind of like, if to put it. So Scorpio, let's put here. We're going to wrap it up a little bit to address all the signs. You're welcome, Barb. So we have 8 of air over here, and we have a 2 of air. They're both reversed, but in this good tarot deck, they're kind of like looked upright. And then you have patience reversed. So, and there's like also one more that wants to come out, and this is King of Water. Anything else? I think this one wanted to speak, and again the Empress made her appearance over here. Let me see. Oh, this is just about to jump out. I'm just trying to, I'm not so sure. Maybe might look crooked and how to fix it, but hopefully you are not as OCD as I am. So guys, 3 of Swords and 2 of Swords is not the best kind of a card to pull, right? So did they put it up properly? Let me see, because I'm just delayed in everything that shows up on camera. It probably would be better if it's a little bit more down to the cameras. I'm not so sure why my online software doesn't want to zoom properly. That kind of like would be more helpful, but the problem is like I cannot really play with this. Maybe next time I'm going to come on earlier so I can kind of like go through all of these elements and kind of like deal with this. So back to your Scorpio. So what's basically happening here is that there is like something that feels raw, that it feels that something or somebody is challenging you to the very core of your being, right? And this would be you. The King of Water is you. So it's almost like let's say you are Novak Djokovic, you're like the best tennis player ever, right? And everybody will want to knock you down from that point on. This is like similar to 6 of Wands, except it's bigger, it's king. Everybody wants your kingdom, everybody wants to knock you down. And the whole strength is showing like, no, I'm going to defend. I'm not going to conquer, but I'm going to defend who I believe in and what I believe in, and this is my kingdom. I really kind of like want it. It's really interesting that I have both King of Water and Empress, which shows that the woman here, so if you're a Scorpio woman, this is most likely you. The woman here is the dominant factor. She is the one ruling the roost, where King of Water is more or less like strong influence, somebody who is silent, somebody who is trying to do the right thing. Both of them have extremely good motives, right? And also there is a patience that is involving. I do see, which is kind of like really interesting. So we have a fire, we have air and earth, and we have water. So, and then we have also air in addition to it. So here is some kind of communication. Maybe you're going to start a month with some crappy news or something hurtful, or somebody's going to say something. And because you're Scorpio, you have like really hardcore, you always put on a brave face. You always kind of like deal with things without willing to show that you have been hurt. And you just kind of like amend that on the outside. You kind of like deal with like with the chasm of everything. But this in particular, it's each and every time building the barrier stronger and stronger and stronger. And this is why your sign is sometimes represented with Phoenix. And I think it will be so much more fair to your sign, showing that rising Phoenix, because honestly, most of us avoid pain, kind of like stay away from pain, and Scorpio is like, bring it on, I can take it. It's just like you feel that, like I'm in depth, you feel that energy, because like in pain, you also find the edges of who you really are, right? But there is like something here, a news of a sort, or something, and I don't know if somebody, sorry to say, died, or is going to kind of like metaphorically die. That means disappearing, not being in your life. Something is really, really affecting your life, because this is a quantitative change that is really happening, and hence is calling for your patience. This is clearly bringing to Pluto, and Pluto is going direct very soon. So when is the shift? Did you ever try to like turn on and off light bulb? So you know how sometimes it can just die off, not so much with light, of course, but like with those old type of like light bulbs. So on and off and on switch and the binary kind of situations, usually most of the times they just died like on that time, and something is shifting, and something here is shifting for you, but it's shifting for the good. It's shifting to kind of like give you a new dimension, to kind of like push you in a kind of like new suggestion, new state. You might, if you're single and if you're a woman, it might be arrival of a man. Like, I mean, King of Water may represent Scorpio or Pisces, but to me mostly represents a person, because this is general reading. It represents a person who is maybe quieter, maybe who is kind of like speaking, not speaking in turn, like kind of like really like strong silent type, but somebody who's going to communicate to you via their eyes, via their support. You're going to give you their big shoulders. You're going to feel accepted. You're going to feel understood. And it's kind of like he's male, so he's not giving you this motherly feeling which usually the Empress gives, but we kind of like find this as a quote-unquote normal energy with females, but males, this is kind of like a craved energy which we sometimes equate with love, but it's universal love. It's somebody who can really bring it on the next level. So it's almost like that you're going to be suited by somebody, and that somebody might exactly be the right one. If you're a male, that's going to be with a female who's going to be much more than regularly, no, here, it's all going to be fine. And that nonsense that we don't know what to say when people are in pain. We really want to help them, but we kind of like sometimes feel kind of like hopeless in this entire situation. So let me get oracle card for you guys, and you have new life. And this is what I wanted to talk about Pluto, because like we have a 5 and 14 over here, right? So this is bringing us to the sun kind of like element, and the sun is shining. Something is coming out in the open. Maybe there's some secrets that you like now finally you were digging and something didn't make sense, and something is really, really coming through, and then you are going to be needing some kind of patience. This is telling you you can still make it work, this card. It's telling you that, you know, like you need to challenge yourself on a situation. I don't know what situation is, but it's going to be a situation so big that is going to need repair. And something is going to emerge as a result of it. And even here we have this confirmation that this is kind of like calling it for a new life, and there is like some kind of like really excitement of a sort about it is like really, really ahead of you. And this is what it says. The general keywords are birth of new ideas, growth, opportunities, a breath of fresh air, and life renewing itself. But particular relationship message here is new energy enters all relationships, and new relationships are bursting with the sweetness and vibrancy only encountered when winter gives way to spring. This is a time to connect with others and share excitement, passion, and hearts full of joy. This card is a very auspicious sign with respect to love and partnership in all forms. So, guys, there's like something that you can really, really look forward to, that you can really enjoy yourself after you kind of like go through the hurdle of whatever it was, whoever it was, the bringer of bad news or whatever it was. Almost like it feels to me that you will be the one who is the instigator, going to say, okay, I need to know now, because the quality of my feelings for you are on a maybe different level than where you are. So if that's the case, you need to tell me, and you need to tell me so I can move forward. I can deal with that, instead of like being stuck somewhere here and kind of like being at your mercy. Scorpio is just not the sign who is going to ever accept these kind of conditions. So let's see, guys, who is next. And it doesn't look like I have 12 of them, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10. It looks like something is missing, but it's only once. So we have Cancer. Okay, we are going into the water signs right now. So it looks like Cancer is going to play a prominent role in this month for many different signs. So that's also good to understand that this is kind of like the energy of a person that we need all support. Hey, we can all kind of like use it, right? But if you find somebody who is not there, who is not forthcoming, who is not really thinking about your best interest, it's also maybe the time to kind of like do it. Hello, Chris, how are you? I was thinking where you are. Hi, hello, Kathy. I'm glad to see you guys. So, Cancers. Oh, I have 2 for you, and one is Ace of Earth, and you have Star over here. So there is like really something exciting happening in your life. You're like, this is like a progress. You're going in a new direction. This card is so beautiful. It's almost like frameable. It's kind of like IKEA art, kind of like it's mass art. And so we have the Star here, like, which is, as you know, not because I'm Aquarius, but one of my favorite cards, because it really talks about hope. Hope is pretty much everything. If you don't have hope, you don't have life, you don't have enjoyment, you don't have friends, you don't have family. So this means like you have nourishment for everything. You are like the center. You can self-nourish. And it's not only that you're self-nourishing, but you are creating some new beginning. Ace of Earth is like something being set for long term. So you're setting your eyes for 10 or 20 years down the road. If this is a purchase of the home, if this is like a budget, if this is like a car, there's like something here that is a really that you're feeling really enthusiastic about it. You have a 5 of fire. It looks like you're fighting somebody over that. You're fighting some decisions. Sorry, Barbie, this is a Cancer. And there's one more, and then we have 10 of water. It is emotional component. It almost looks like, even though it's not showing people here, you know, the 10 of water would be a whole family kind of like playing together in a regular deck. But here we have Laughing Buddha. And like it's just like pretty much the message over here, my dear Cancer, is everything is going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Things are going to be fine, and you're going to have the vision. You are going to be the leader. You need to just like, push away any naysayers, anybody who is trying to convince you otherwise, because this is what this card is. You're going to have people, and it's always the case, right? So I have learned in my life that I only convey the message when I'm really certain. Of course, I'm a fixed sign. I almost like have a cement in my feet. So once when I set my mind that I want to do something, I am doing it, and it's like not stopping me. You would not believe how many people who basically protested when I was moving from Toronto. And it was really hard to leave friends who say they will visit you, but you really never know, right? But my decision was made. It was like 2 years in making, and it was just the right timing, and I made it. And this kind of like is really representing how you deal with all of these people. And you are really dealing with them gently. You are dealing with them with simply kind of like giving them a hug, because maybe they are doing that because they're missing you, or they will be missing you, or you know, like they feel discomfort of the change that is kind of creating in their life as a ripple effect, right? And it just kind of like always feels like when you're being left behind, it feels kind of like strange, right? And you having this emotional ability to affect it, because look at the element. Look at, you have the air, you have water, you have earth, and you have fire. There is the balance, but of course air being dominant because that's a master one, and it's like not any master one. You're having the star, you're having this big expansion. Everything is possible, but the meaning is here that you need to follow your star. You need to follow your star, right? So let's see. And you are having observer card. It just reminds me of basically quantum mechanics and quantum physics over here, because observer is somebody who can really change the outcome of the things just by simply sitting and observing, right? So it's really important to kind of like integrate yourself with the life around you. So the key words over here are perspective, objectivity, neutral observation from a distance. And this could actually mean you putting some distance as well. I don't know if you guys are also moving. I don't see anything in particular that kind of like indicates this, even though the star card can indicate kind of like motion of some sort. So let me just give you a relationship message here. It says, sometimes you just can't see the forest from the trees in your way. Feelings can get all jumbled up, and often you hear one thing when a person says another. It can be like an echo of an unresolved past experience dubbed over your conversation. So take time out before you react. It's likely the other person has no idea how his or her words have affected you. Take a few steps back and lend understanding to the situation. Have faith in your connection and trust that you can come together. Take to higher ground now and cultivate curiosity about what you observe in yourself, in others, and in the landscape. You will find things much improved sooner than you know. So I also feel like this is a part of you charging your own batteries, right? And that you need that space, you need the flow. If you guys, and I don't know why, I just like have this intuitive flashing before my eyes, a water fountain. Just put it somewhere close to your door, like entrance door, or in the lobby. They say not to put it on the right hand side of the door, so that would be like when you're looking out on the right hand side. But I really think that's maybe a little bit an obsolete rule. The reason why they say that is like, oh, your husband or partner is going to cheat on you, just put it on the left side. I'm just mentioning why that rule is there in Feng Shui. But I did see the water kind of like a feature over here. There's like something with water. If nothing else, just a little mini painting of crushing waves, or something that is not stagnant water, something that is really kind of like moving, and that's kind of like needed. So that's for you, Cancer, for the October upcoming thing. And the next one is Aries. So, my dear Aries, let me pick you, and hopefully this is going to clear it by then. It did. So, let me go back on the other screen. And let's start with Aries. And please, guys, if you didn't like it, please click on the like for a second. That's going to be my focus. I'm going to be rebuilding everything, given that I had such a big gap. But as you know, in 4 years, I didn't have one single month that I missed. So it kind of like probably is good to have this kind of like new, fresh outlook. Oh my gosh, Aries. Oh, I will better put a stamp here. So, Aries. So you have Magician. You have ability to create things. You're a mover and you're a shaker this month. Anything can really happen over here for you. I also have Hangman. I also have Queen of Fire, which could be you as well, and I have Nine of Earth. It's just like it's becoming a feature. I'm seeing a certain kind of like a pattern emerging, that it looks like everybody will be into kind of like some progress. Everybody will be in some kind of moving. And so when you're putting that in a kind of like grand scheme of things, that like we are going to transition of Libra, which is always trying to put things in balance, which means if something is out of balance, it's calling for attention. And what is usually out of balance, so now it's Mercury retrograde plus Libra, right? It's not just, Mercury retrograde. So Libra is trying to put things in balance, and Mercury retrograde is calling us to these things. So usually anything that is outdated, like that we need to kind of like do, that calls for attention, something that is a weak link in our life, especially if this is kind of like a part of whatever is a part of Libra, humanitarian, justice, faith, or technology, right, which is Mercury, that is ruling and communication, that's kind of like it's what is going to happen. So Magician is making things happen. However, the Hangman is kind of like, it's almost like reversal. You want to make things happen. So let's translate it, for example, in marketing language. So let's say you want to create something really new. You're working on a new business, or you're approaching a new partner, right? And this is kind of like that energy, which is absolutely fantastic. It's straightforward. You have all the tools. You have everything that you need. You know how the seduction works. You know how the interview process works. But something is compelling you to go not one step further, but many, many, many steps further, because look at this major crowning your reading here. So with Magician over here, it's turning into, okay, whatever, I'm going to be observer. So Hangman in a sort is also an observer, allowing that inverse kind of like situation. It's almost like, okay, let's do it your way. So this could mean that you guys are getting a job and you're in a training kind of like period. You're in your first 3 months sort of a thing, that you're in a honeymoon part of a relationship where you're still not, it's not that you're hiding who you are. You're just like simply very mellow, and you're just like absorbing things. Hangman is like willingness to be in the situation. It's not a punishment, right? You are putting yourself in a situation where you, hello Sally, where you just like simply want to understand that you're not rolling over somebody, that you're actually really hearing their wishes and their needs and their wants. So that's kind of like what is going to be very, very important here. And Queen of Fire and Nine of Earth, it's also telling me there's like certain duality in your thoughts, that you're thinking, hey, you know, do I really go in this direction, or how do I go it? So somehow it's also bringing to my attention that could be some kind of legal process that you're maybe going through, that is calling to your attention. If it is, that you're going to be a winner if you have the hearing date or a final kind of like hearing date during this Mercury retrograde. It's kind of like something that asks for detail. Anything that is asking input and details, if you input those details and you really need to look and turn every stone, there is like, I mean, a big win that is really happening as a result of it. And you're feeling really strongly on your feet. And I can hear ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching over here, right? In terms of relationships, there's like a lots of communication over here. It is really happening. There's lots of kind of like, it's going to the next level. You are like feeling fine-tuned with this person, because the Queen of Fire is the one that could be you, or it could be somebody else who is very like-minded, and it's kind of like thinking along the same kind of like lines. Thanks, Sally. Like, I'm glad to see you too. Relaxed and kind of like quasi studio here. I still have to find my way around. So it's round and round, an unfinished symphony. This could also be somebody from the past, guys, with kind of like these two additional kind of like, I mean, cues. Here we have the Fibonacci, so that can mean some kind of like a soulmate, or some kind of like masterwork or karma work in the background. And it's kind of like your initial inclination is like, oh, I can handle the situation. I got this. Oh, I got it. I don't need anything else. But the second thought is like, you know what, let's do things differently. Let me see now. I have a little bit more space. I have a little bit more time. I'm not in a kind of like, I'm in a clinch. So let me kind of try something different over here. And with this, you're expanding your ability to understand, to accept. And this is kind of like really, really good. So round and round sometimes feels we are lost in the process and repeating and what's going on. And let me give you keywords for that one. The spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't quite integrated. So this is it, like finally you have time to kind of like go into that. And it's revisiting a pattern from a new perspective. Over here with the romance, it says, are you wondering, how did I get here again? Does something feel familiar right now in your dynamics with others? Maybe a little too familiar? So don't be surprised that you have found yourself repeating an old story with the same sort of person who may not look similar, but who attracted you because of your easy acquaintance with his or her qualities. The relationship is a mix of what is good and what is potentially challenging. You have been drawn to this person through the perfection of Spirit's plan for your evolution. So you may also have circled back to an accustomed spot, a familiar place, but that's fine. as you get to do things again, only differently this time. And this is kind of like what I meant over here. You are saying, okay, let's do it your way, entirely your way. And by observing how people does it and what they want and what is their expectation, you're actually really understanding their true needs and kind of like integrating this into who you are, and it's giving you greater understanding and greater emotional intelligence as a result. So let me see if this is going to give you ability to finish the symphony. It says unfinished business, and again, it's incomplete lesson of some sort, but you're completing it this month. You're completing it by looking into kind of like these details, and it's saying moving on is difficult when love lingers. Things are left unsaid, and you haven't had the opportunity for closure in a relationship. It almost like sounds to me, because this is Mercury, Magician is ruled by Mercury, you may have appearance of some old kind of like flares, or they might just pop in your mind and you're thinking about it, what went wrong there, and I was like so much in and so, and then why did it fizzle out, kind of a thing, right? So it says you can still feel bound up in a relationship when closure is denied you. It's important to achieve this for yourself. Write that letter, make that call, or have a conversation or a cup of coffee for peace of mind. Accept matters as they are. Make amends if needs to be, and declare your feelings, even if this is to yourself only. So I really think what is really happening here is like, because you're very strong, but you're also very, very fast moving. This is now calling you to slow down and to kind of like address things, because now is a time and a place for all of that unfinished business to come to the forefront. And it's basically a healing process, but healing process for you is going to be more than that, because you are kind of like almost like promoted. You're going to the next level. So if this is at work, you need to kind of like really understand and find how to find your place in a group rather than being just a leader. And it's kind of understanding that jointly you actually can accomplish much more than just like individually. So the next one, let's pick this one, is going to be Virgo. See, Virgo, otherwise you will be last after the last months, you being forefront everywhere. So Virgo, and again, doesn't want to do that for me. Come on. How do I go back to my previous screen? Virgo. Finally. Guys, Virgo retrograde is messing with me. It's hilarious, like a cat and a string, kind of like a press the button, does nothing. Press the button, does nothing. Press the button. It still does nothing. It's hilarious. Hello, Jayuri. So, what did I say? This is Virgo. And let's see the timestamp. We have 6 of water and we have a 7 of earth reversed. And this one wanted to come out, which is 10 of fire. Woo. And we have 2 more. And one is page of fire reversed and one is 5 of water reversed. So Virgo, there are some kind of like reconciliations here that I see that are really happening over here. They're like definitely clearly showing up as things from the past. They're like some kind of like secrets, or they're like some kind of answers that need to be said, need to be kind of like talked about it. But I really don't think that the thing is going forward. I just telling you really out of the gate. This is more or less, let's clear the air, kind of like a scenario that I see over here, right? It's also a situation that maybe involved, I don't know, a possible jealousy or possible uncertainty of a sort, right? It could be that you dump somebody or somebody dumped you, and it really, they use that word dump, and it kind of like, that's kind of like where it kind of like really felt really weird. Now, to me, it's really interesting that they have a 10 of fire and page of fire. They both have a very similar quality, right? So page of fire can also be also known as an ace of fire. So there is like that on the switch kind of like part that are really happening, because page of fire should be apprentice if you kind of like wish, and 10 of fire should be something that is accomplished. But all different than the other 10s in this Ten of Fire, and I don't know if you can see it right here, this one is almost burned. We really want to find out really what is on this paper, because it's going to form the puzzle, right? So the fire is very fast, very inquisitive. Fire kind of like is giving warmth, is giving life, if you wish, it's giving survival, right? But almost like these two cards possibly negate themselves, which can actually describe a person who one day wants to go forward, another day doesn't want to go forward, right? So it kind of like it's the feeling of stuckness of some sort. And Seven of Earth, maybe you guys are feeling that you need to kind of like have a better way of investing. And when I call about investing, I'm not talking about your stocks and bonds. It's kind of like, how do you spend your time? Is this a quality time? Because we just have such a limited time on this planet. So you're asking yourself, hey, you know, if I were to kind of live another 30, 40, 50, 60 years, am I going to feel that I just wasted this moment? Or is this moment of peace really what I need right now? So it's just like simply kind of like reading the essence, which is going to be really important. And this is kind of like finding out what is important long term, not what is important short term, right? And it's kind of like review of these things past that is kind of like really shown over here, and things that maybe didn't work properly. And hence, because of so many things being brought forefront, there is like this confusion that I see. And the confusion is like Ten of Fire is like sometimes carrying the burdens, and kind of like even holding other people's secrets. And you know how people, to make it easy for themselves, they kind of like, I did this, I cheated, and then you have to see their husband or a boyfriend, and you're always having this feeling inside of you, which is unfair, that you have to hold it for somebody who clearly kind of like just used you as a dump ground, if you wish. And that could be a part of dump, that maybe you have been confident of some sort for the other people, and now you have to hold the burden of all this stuff. Maybe it's time to just release them. You don't have to literally go and tell the other person, but it's sometimes just sitting and digging the hole and just like screaming in this hole and then burying the hole. It's good enough. It was this beautiful Chinese movie. Oh my gosh, what was it called? I think this is the best romance movie ever. Something with a kiss. I'll remember it. You know, like how great I am with titles. It has this beautiful music, and they have the same story that they have in their culture. It's kind of like talking to the hole in a tree, and then you kind of like, you can confine all of your sins and everything, and this is kind of like sealed forever kind of a thing. So that way nobody is really burdened, because tree is there to push to the ground to kind of like make this live. So yes, Sally, this is a monthly reading, and I'm taking my sweet time over here because I haven't seen you. So we have again new life, and this does make sense. You're deciding that certain things cannot move on, certain things have to be different and better and higher quality, and you're really putting your foot down. No more secrets. You want things, if they are done, they're done properly. So it's almost like I'm seeing in your reading that you guys are demanding high quality and high responsiveness, and also that you vibrate with people on the same emotional level. And it's almost going to be a must. You will not even negotiate on that. It's going to have to go further in a direction that is convenient and comfortable for you. And that's all good, I would say. So let's see who is next. The next one is, oh, there is the one hiding. So 2, 4, 6. So we have one more, and then Barbie's going to put her foot down and say, come on, let's do something. Then we have Pisces. Interestingly enough, we had all this like a water sign going forward. Pisces, let's highlight your sign over here. Pisces, good to hear, Knitting Yogi. So we have a 10 of air. Ooh, we have a 10 of air. We have 2 of fire. Then we have 10 of water. Oh my God, Pisces, what's going on here? And then we have a 4 of fire. So it's a fire and water. There's like something that is coming to some kind of like sizzling point. There's like something that you're really dealing with. Look at how color wise it looks like a nice combination. And it's kind of like, almost looks like all or nothing. That's kind of like how it reads to me, right? That there are like things over here. Ten of air is not a good start. Ten of air is a rock bottom. Ten of air is when you feel that you're betrayed, when you feel that something is not happening, that you had high hopes for a friendship or relationship or for a job to get, and then it just like doesn't happen. And then Two of Fire says, and this is a very positive card right after this, that you're saying, maybe I need to learn something. Maybe this all happened because it's protecting me in a situation, and I really need to learn something about it, right? So Two of Fire is pushing you into this kind of new direction and a new path. It's exploration. So it's really talking about enjoying the journey, because on the journey you're connecting your specimens, you're connecting the stuff, and you're seeing interaction of the environment with those specimens, and hence you're able to kind of like gather that greater understanding, right? And Four of Fire, it's basically success. It's some kind of like achievement, even when it's reversed, right? Four of Fire always talks about the journey has been successful, and you're maybe not reaching the final point, but you're reaching a point where you are really successful. You're successful to that level that you really want to stay. And Ten of Water is, it's kind of like weird. You're going from the rock bottom to the really high top. So I don't know, guys, this almost sounds like a little bit bipolar to me, from the really deep depression to the really high highs. And that's kind of like what is going to be the quality of the month. So you need to know that nothing is really staying, like, what Buddhists say, this too shall pass. So this depression will pass, but so will this kind of like high pass. So this is the key for you, this journey, the small baby steps going forward. And this is supposed to teach you the lesson. These are just kind of like manifestations of the emotions that you're experiencing. So you need to understand also that these very sad or negative emotions are the ones who actually motivated you to go in that direction, motivated you to kind of like start the journey. So in the end, they were positive. Like you were not stuck in some status quo, right? So here it's talking about that you're on top of your world. Maybe you feel, oh, I have overcome whatever that you dealt with, or oh, I'm back on the horse again, kind of a thing. But the whole point of the Ten of Water is saying, realizing who are the people who are there for you, right? Because on Ten of Air, we don't have many people who are there to give us a hand, to kind of like take us out. It's almost like the situation where we really need to kind of like, this 10 swords, you need to pull every single one out and heal the wound, and you never know what's happening. With Ten of Water, we are so happy that the cup is pouring over. We have enough for everybody else. So when this happens, we are not really realizing, and we are not even caring if these people are worthy of that or not. But this is the lesson you need to know, that I'm not saying withholding this bounty from the other people, but saying that the lesson for you this month is to realize who stays and who goes. That you might need to make your circle more narrow. You're clearly a really good friend, but you need to ask yourself if you are getting the same treatment in turn, kind of a thing, right? And here's, of course, you got why. Why is happening? And the why is like the hardest question that I'm pose when my clients ask, but why did that happen? Why did she do that? Why did he do that? There is no answer to why. Why is just a filler, right? It doesn't even matter, right? Because you need to know, who you are, and you need to know who they are. So why could be, well, we are just simply on two different tracks, and those tracks don't meet, and somehow they jumped over. It was fun, but we need to kind of go back in direction. So this is not 21, it will be 31. And what it says motives, driving, intention, the power of knowing the why. So for a relationship, it says we don't always know why we engage in relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. Now is the time to recognize whether you're being triggered by someone else or if your behavior is motivated by unresolved issues in the past. When you ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? And why did I say that? And spend some time in introspection, the answers may be surprising. Listen to the messages from your intuition, from the knowing deep within you. What does it tell you about yourself and others? In the end, life is all about being loved. Miracles and a deep understanding of your needs and how to get them met are the buried treasures of the why. Uncover them by posing the most powerful question you can ask yourself and your partner today: why? So maybe the people who couldn't help you, who you thought would be there for you, just couldn't do it. Maybe they didn't get to the point of having that capacity. And maybe this is the answer to your why question. And it is not your job, and you cannot possibly give them ability to understand. They simply need to kind of like do it and be able to do it themselves. But at the same time, you have the right to demand and to expect that people around you will be the people who are good for you, who are positive, and with whom you can move and be in a much better space and going on in the future. So how come that Barbie didn't call kind of like a little break for the reading over here? So let's go yes and no questions over here, guys. And let me cover this. Where is this? Do I even have it? No, that was erased. Why? Does this exist and this picture doesn't exist? I think what happened here is that I, for some reason, lost these templates, but we are going to, this is just me. Yeah, for some reason it's gone, but I don't know why it is gone. This is ending. This is not it. In any case, I don't like to shuffle in front of everybody because the cards really jump out. But let me just remove these Pisces for now and put the timestamp, and I'm going to shuffle it on the side. So guys, think about the doors. Door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3, just like Barbie told you. And let's go. I'm going to shuffle it this way. I'm going to cut it down so that way nobody really knows what's really happening. Jyoti 18, are you still around? If this is your first time, hello, please say something about you, what sign you are. Well, this one came out as the first one. Hopefully you didn't see it. Let's do door number 2. Let's put it this way, and the door number 3 this way. So guys, ask yourself the last moment. Do you want the door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3? And let's reveal. Door number 1, it was the 5 of Cups. There's like something that is not going forward. There's something that you really hope for. It's not happening. But it's also the more important message here is like, it's not moving forward because something else exists. It's in place that should be followed. Those 2 of Cups. You need to follow something that is not, let's say, an image, not an idea, in order to follow something that is really real, that is kind of like deep and is penetrating. So it is clearly telling you that even this question, what you want, is not in your best interest. The door number 2, you have Ace of Pentacles reversed. So Ace of Pentacles is like this big idea, it's a big progress, it's something going on in a big direction. When it reverses, it feels like you're always stumbling and things are really not going in this direction, but it does still have a possibility, it does have a potential, right? Except I think because of Mercury retrograde, maybe in the beginning stages, you're going to have lots of hurdles to overcome as a result, right? So keep in mind, this might look that is not kind of like catching on for a reason and for quite a while. But if you really want this, if this is really something that is a long-term kind of like a decision, I would persist with this and I would give it another 3-4 weeks before I make a final decision. And the door number 3 is 6 of Wands. It's clearly a winning proposition, and it is something that is going to really come to you with a relative ease. You're going to not have a much kind of like difficulties in that, and it's going to look like everything is perfect and everything is kind of like very, very deserving. Hello, Mr. Virtue. So you are male Gemini? Please do tell us. We don't have many men coming over here on our forum. So let's see. Let's go this one. Oh, I got two. So this one is next. So we have Sagittarius. And I'm going to tell you right out of the gate who is going to be the next after Capricorn. Okay, so let's go with Saggies first. Saggies. And let's go. Sagittarius, Sagittarius. Any Sagittarians that we have over here? Ace of Air. The first contract worker that was work here was Sagittarius, and I thought we will get along very well. It just looks too bad. He was dealing with lots of personal issues and self-esteem issues, and he was reading the world as a threatening place. It was really sad to view that. So you have, guys, Ace of Air, but also Three of Air. So hope and shatter hope at the same time. And then, what the heck is happening? You have a Page of Air, you have 7 of Fire reversed, you have a 4 of Water reversed, and you have 8 of Water reversed. I'm going to put all the reversals upright so you can actually view the cards. So there's like something really happening in your life, my dear Sagittarius. So Ace of Air being really, really positive card here, right? Like good news. Okay, good news and bad news. Let's go with the bad news. Bad news, it's a really bad month. And this is just like, is it your birthday? So no, it will be Scorpio. It's going to be before you. So there's like something happening. Ace of Air is a karma card. It's like something that is kind of like a victory, that you feel you have reached the level that you're kind of getting where you really want to get. But then everything goes downhill from that point on, because this is very similar energy, but it is reversed. So it could be that this any gain that you have made here is just like going tits up, if you wish, because something is just like not happening. You're returning to the old kind of like conversations. You're returning to the old places. There is like an essence of a boredom, this essence that you're feeling, oh, poor me, and I'm a victim, and I'm something kind of like something is really not happening. And even 7 of Fire is a battle, like where you're trying to convince somebody into your whatever you want to believe or wherever you want to believe them. And you're motivated with some kind of like hurt. This is really, really feeling really, really harsh of some kind of like sort. And generally what is really good about this is that there are no major arcana. So it's not going to be something that is karmic. These things actually can be influenced when we don't have majors, which means with proper meditation, with proper kind of like choice of the words and choice of the people and proper kind of like looking in your calendar, you can kind of like avoid the events to be catastrophic, because some of them will definitely have big emotional impact. Because look at this water that you have here. You have water and you have air. And then this is fire, which is you. So, but the fire resurfaces, like in terms of fighting, it says unicorn, but this unicorn is like right on the top. Where is this unicorn going from that point on, right? So you're really trying to convince somebody in some kind of like lofty ideas, in some whatever versions of something that you have. But there's like a lots of communication that it feels like something is hidden, something is doing like something behind. You are doing that, or somebody's doing it to you. It's behind the back. It could be a stalker-like ability that you're checking on somebody, what they are doing, or somebody's checking on you. There's like something like that happening over here. This figure here in this particular deck, look at how it's basically hidden and has like this big amulet, but it almost looks like a spider web over here, that you feel you kind of cut yourself into something that is really, really hard to undo, right? It's really kind of like hard to go in a different kind of like situation. So let me see, let me get more clarity on this one over here. So what's going on Creative Guru, what's going on over here? Are you by sidereal astrology? Okay, so it's a message in a bottle. It's another water element, and like water and fire, it can create lots of anger, it can create lots of sizzle, it can create lava. It's like right going down. It's a huge spectrum what's going to happening, of the small eruptions to the big eruptions. It can be, I don't think it's going to be tectonic because there are no major arcanas, but message in a bottle clearly talks about needing to communicate, needing to put something out in the open. And let's see a little bit more about this. It's a 15. The major messages are communication, a sign. It says pointing the way to your highest good. You always need to kind of like deal with this. Kind of like, what would my higher self do? What is the right thing to do, right? You find a suitcase with $1 million in $1 bills, and you know you can get away with this. Are you getting away with this, or are you returning it? And even if you return it, what it kind of belongs to a drug dealer, right? Because it's just weird how it is. So you see how many aspects there are there. So relationship message here, it says, you can expect someone to favor you with positive news, and it can be in the form of a letter, phone call, or email. You're intended receiver of this message, so stay open to what you learn. Only good will come of it in the end. Only good will come of it in the end. The signs are all there. So I'm really wondering if basically here you guys are not opening yourself to these messages, or you are shutting them down, or you don't want to communicate, because that's kind of like the overwhelming feeling that they feel that you're really closing, you're shutting the doors, you're putting all the locks on. And this is the message you need to know, you need to hear in order for you to spread your wings. So it's very constraining over here that I feel, and it can be painful. And these emotions need to be let out, because it looks like to me you're bottling something up that should be not there anymore. And you should deal with this and let it be gone forever, kind of a thing. But it's probably only you know why you are not dealing with all of that. It is like 111 over here, my dear Barbie. So it's kind of cute. The next one is Capricorn, as I said. Over here, let's kind of like switch this. Sagittarius to Capricorn. No, to Capricorn. And let's go with this. And did I put the sign for Sagittarius? Of course I didn't. Sagittarius, Capricorn. It's a guess. And Capricorn, one. It's also interesting. 1, 11, and 11 is a Capricorn. So you guys are going to have some really, really strong messages to come. Creative Guru, this was not the most positive thing, but tell me what you think with your sidereal kind of thing. And look, we have another 7 of fire over here. Oh, you have world. You have world. Something massive is happening. Something new and exciting, and I don't know if you can see it. This one actually has a key coming through it. This is to me karma card. It's kind of half of the karma card, which means like it's happening right now. You're not going to even wait a whole month. It's going to be happening today, and the changes are there, and you might not find out about it today, but you will know that this is like when things started to take a different turn. And it's called Messenger of Earth, which is kind of like a U, and then you have love. So I don't know if you guys have somebody in your life who is like a fixed sign. So we are talking about Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, or Aquarius over here, or you simply have an earth sign, or you have a Gemini in your life. So this is clearly astrologically what is coming through. It's really talking about that there was like some kind of a struggle of some sort. There's like also communication issue, which could be Mercury retrograde. That's why we have a 6, and we have this messenger being reversed, meaning messages are getting all jumbled up. And you know, like, I mean, people say things that are actually hurtful without them realizing it's hurtful, and it's kind of like a nonsense. It can be kind of like riddled with superstition, religion, or anything like that, right? Where you really need to kind of like have much kind of like greater approach to the situation. But the world card is positive, no matter how the rest of the reading is negative, like it would make it positive. But you have a double, you have both world and love, right? So in your case, this is really talking about possibly a beginning of something new. Maybe you finished with something and now you're ready to move on. Usually this shows up when I see a person after a long time of suffering or trying to work with me, let's say in a therapy for, oh, why did it happen? And especially after relationships that ended up with um, harshness, cheating, it's kind of hard to bounce back, right? Because it's nothing that you can remedy, and it's kind of like a massive injury to the ego, right? And its ability to move forward, but accept is like, how do I communicate this? How do I communicate it? This is now a burden I have to live with, that I don't feel fully, you know, I don't feel fully kind of like enmeshed, and I don't know how would this kind of like reflect and work in the future of a sort. So this kind of like means that you have been fighting for something that is kind of like really meaningful to you, and that you need to hold on to it. This is really telling you, do not jeopardize this. And if you run into somebody who might feel like a little bit wishy-washy, you might be still enthused by the person because you're attracted to, but it's really telling you that you need to pick choices, you need to pick partners and people around you very, very carefully, because it is really telling you that something really good and something really nice is on its way. This is a really good card to get. It's a little bit higher in energy than Two of Cups. Two of Cups is like it's a relationship, but this is a long-term, life-changing experience because it belongs to the air versus the other one belongs to emotions, and this one belongs to the concept, kind of like, if you wish, and it's doubled with the world, right? So it has a little bit of loner kind of like feeling in that maybe you're going to meet a loner, maybe you are a loner, maybe you kind of like don't generally kind of like jump from relationship to relationship and rather are very picky, and Capricorns can be that way, just choosing the proper kind of like mate of a sort. But it does have the feeling of a sword, right? Or somebody who is highly spiritual. You might actually meet or interfere or even crave to be guru yourself of some sort. So if I have to advise you where you would meet this person, if this person is still unknown to you, I would say something like that, the yoga lessons or retreats or meditations. That's kind of like where the source is going to be for you. So let me just see. Woo! This one flew all the way down, and it's called Time to Go. So where are you going? And maybe this is simply saying it's time to activate things. So let me see. Is that the very last one? I think it's 52. It is last one. 45, and it says the key words to this one is endings, completion, walking away from something because there is nothing else to learn or experience. I think you have done it. I think this is that accomplishment, but the accomplishment is not feeling like a defeat. It feels like winning. It feels like it's time to move on, right? So, and that's what it says in the Oracle. You're at the end of one journey and have not yet begun the next, but I see here clearly that you are beginning the next, so that's confusing. So let me see a relationship message. It says it's over, or at the very least the form this relationship has taken is no longer of service to you or the other person. This is a time of letting go, of knowing that the journey has come to its conclusion. This doesn't mean anything is lost. Although this card could speak to a breakup, drifting apart, or the end of a soul contract, it's more about release than destruction. Remember the saying, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours, and if not, it never was. Endings are always a sign of new beginnings. If you want something deeper, walk away. That I see, because I see that you're going to be questioned and challenged one more time. Or a secret guru, your Cappy. This is really interesting that we had these like two together. So this is really saying like if something is not productive, do not try to repair it anymore. It is like time to claim new energy and new direction, and love is awaiting for you. And because this love is like big umbrella of love, this doesn't really talk about relationships per se. It talks about professional achievements, loving what you do, loving people around you, kind of like loving life. And it's kind of like one of those rare moments and rare experience we have in life that, you know, it's telling you, okay, it's just going to pass by you. That kind of like unicorn. Do you want to experience it, or you just want to go home and watch the game or something, right? So this is really up to you how you are going to address it, right? All right, let me see who will be next. And next one is Libra. We already did you, Libra. Happy birthday to you once again. Let's go this one. Gemini. Gemini, we have Geminis here, right? Huggy Putty Kids. Okay, for the timestamp. Gemini. Okay, so let's see. What do I see here for you? Okay. You have Strength reversed, and you have Three of Fire. Well, that doesn't really surprise me because when Sagittarius, like, you have to understand that I always see it as an axis, maybe because my ascendant is Libra, so I see everything as kind of like a platform, and one goes up, one goes down. So both of them are ultimately getting affected. So if the Sag is affected, Gemini get affected. So when you see the opposite sign of yours being red, it's great. You can go, oh, okay, most likely I'm going to be good. So you have a Three of Fire reversed, and you have a Strength reversed, right? And then you have a Messenger of Earth. So you maybe guys feeling overwhelmingly weak this month. Three of Fire is the motion forward, and Strength is like willingness to go and carry this through. Together they're making it 11. It's something spiritual, almost like it feels like, okay, just give me something normal. I just don't want a normal sandwich. I don't want something special. Just give me something normal, right? Because that's why the Messenger of Earth is kind of like appearing. It's showing up as the slow motion forward. This is kind of being very inquisitive. I don't know why I'm feeling. I'm just like feeling overall exhaustion. I'm feeling somebody who is enmeshed in so many different things, and not in things that you originated, things that kind of like you're saddled with, that you really need to do them, and they're coming your way, like homework, like work assignments, like legal requirements. Maybe you're going through the processes through insurance, and they're requiring some documentations from you, so you're like kind of like going through this kind of like things that require things, and maybe you're like angry, maybe you're a little bit upset, maybe you're feeling and this is too much to handle. And also you have a 9 of air and 8 of air, right? So it kind of like feel being stuck in a situation of a sort. It feels like I need to get out of it. It's time for me to get out of the situation, but you really don't know how to. It's almost like you're in the middle of the process and you just cannot step out for a reason, right? And this is kind of like really interesting because to some extent, and I'm sorry to say, you're almost like feeling like, oh God, why I'm feeling like a loser, because you're not the loser. And I really have to tell you here, I don't see it, because this actually technically is the only card, I did reverse this too, that is standing upright. And it's actually a good card. It's telling you, look, you need to pull yourself by the bootstraps and you need to make baby steps. If you want to become an athlete, just because you couldn't continue for an hour, that's okay. Can you do it for a minute? No? Try to do it for 30 seconds. No? 5 seconds. Do whatever you can. And then increase and increase and increase. Make this like small incremental steps to the progress. And this is a huge message. Like, because this is a major one. And the major feels that there is like a hole in your system. There was like injury. Maybe you have been, maybe it was a psychic attack. It was something of a sort that really needs to kind of like be done. But like the kind of penetration caused so much damage that you are now talking yourself these negative messages. And it's really important that you know that at any given time, you're still moving forward. You're making these small incremental steps forward, right? And this is the thing, like, I mean, that most of us forget that cumulative effect, right? So I used to, for example, do these French lessons every day before I came here. And then I got caught in all these people and already speaks French around me that I'm a little bit embarrassed having these lessons and parroting them while these French people are here. And I stopped doing them, so now I have to go back and refresh them. So I'm actually going backwards instead of making the small incremental steps forward. They actually do have a big power over here. So that's kind of like not really upside down Gemini. This is kind of like feeling this is happening for air signs. I can see that because air signs and fire signs are so fast that we really need to hit the corners in order to understand that we need to slow down. And this is clearly a message: you need to slow down and make small, very high quality progress. Messenger of Earth is also somebody who is very studious, who is trying to find solutions in books, who's trying to get educated on the matter, who's still not there on the level of the expert, but who is able to be in the right source, in the right place, and get the proper information. So if you need to obtain this information, this is calling you to do that. Chop wood. I think this is the Chinese proverb here that we are talking about, which is very, very similar message to what I was trying to reinforce over here. What is it? Chop wood. Where is that saying? Come on. Chop wood. Chop wood, carry water. That's the message. It's a Zen proverb, right? Meaning, like, just take the necessary thing. Wash the dishes. Walk the dog. Don't do anything major. Just make these small incremental steps that are going to turn out to be big and huge in the future. So your essential meanings is being grounded in everyday experience and humility. And this is good to have it because you are being gifted with being an air sign. You can fly. But, you know, did you see the birds, how much they have to eat in order to fly? And they fly just a little bit. I just show you a pheasant that was walking in my front yard. They can only fly 20 meters and that's it. They have to recuperate because of the size and everything, right? So here's your relationship message. Nothing is as important right now as just doing what you need to do day to day. Let your heart remember that not everything has to be hard-won, passionate, or even obviously meaningful. Relationships and friendships go through lulls when the everyday tasks are at the center of awareness. That's perfect now. Hold hands, wash dishes, make a fire, read a book, share a meal, say nothing, stare into space, pick up socks, tell a dumb joke. Leave space to breathe. The work, quote unquote, of your relationship right now is very simple. Just to be present. Funny how it takes work to just be. All is well, literally. So this is really telling you just because you're not doing massively big kind of like things, that doesn't mean you're not doing. And it's kind of calling your attention for the smaller things in life and almost like kind of like enjoy them. Actually, I was doing the same lesson just the last week, sitting in my backyard and watching the clouds above me, and it was the dark cloud underneath, and the sky was already pink in the sunset on the top, and they were going like this in the layers, and I was just mesmerized with the beauty of it and realizing, oh my gosh, this is here every day of my life, and I'm just noticing this right now, and how could I not notice this before? It's so beautiful, and I'm missing this beauty like it's the most beautiful canvas which is in motion. And something like that can be moving for somebody who's always thinking about the big projects and big stuff. So it's kind of like slowing down that is going to feed your powerhouse of elements. Or so I think this is the same, very similar message to both Gemini and Sagittarius. So the next one is Aquarians. We are the next. Let's see what we are going to get. So Aquarius, my dear Aquarians, I didn't do a reading for myself actually in a long time, so it's going to be very interesting. You know, this is a reading for me. It's general, which means it can pull to different directions, but let's see. Okay, who is there, guys? I just don't see any chat going on. Let me kind of like hear from you. Just say hi, tell me what you're doing right now. Chat rate is completely 0. So we have 5 of fire. It's some kind of struggle. It's kind of like establishing ourselves, conveying our ideas. Come on, Aquarius. Ooh, we have Magician next. Aquarius. This one wants to come out. It's 10 of Earth and it's 6 of Earth. Whew, it's good. It's actually really good. So it's very kind of like grounding. Like we're going earth and fire, earth and fire. We're going fire and air, which is kind of like really kind of like working. Oh, there it is, Kelsey at work. Tell me, guys, what you're doing. That would be always interesting. I'm going to start asking you questions. And then we have, so this is kind of like reestablishing who you are, finding your own authenticity, finding your own ground, finding if you're going to react in kind or you're going to just be reactive. Finding out how the other people and what their triggers are in the same situations, right? Finding out what your core beliefs are, what is really, really important to you, and if somebody is really taking you for granted or taking you down the garden path because they know this is your weak spot, right? So you need to really know how to have this push and pull kind of like game when it comes to this kind of like energies. And then when you realize, okay, in which direction you're going, the Magician appears and saying, okay, you're ready. You're actually fully ready. The problem was like you had too many things going on and you need to kind of like funnel in which direction you're going. And this is kind of like coming to something really, really enormous, right? So 10 of Earth and 6 of Earth are both qualities of feeling fully established, feeling fully grounded. 6 of Earth is like where you can actually really share with somebody, but you have so much that you feel you can give to somebody without asking anything in return, right? And this is like a tricky quality sometimes because you do give it away and then later you see this person either not paying it forward or not doing it to everybody, or maybe at some point you need something. It's not that, oh, I did it for you, now you have to do it for me. You're not calling that thing. I see actually some nations almost like entirely have entire communication is founded on, oh, I did it for you, you need to do it for me, which kind of makes sense if you're in coming from some kind of like quasi tribal society. But where we are at, and we are especially blessed to live in a more developed world, we actually don't have to deal with that. So it's more like a moral quality, if nothing else. And it's kind of like observation of that is really, really important. But nonetheless, this is putting us in a situation that we can be generous with our money or with time, with our resources, right? The problem is like not giving it freely without being measured. So most people just, oh, okay, I have this extra thing, I can give it to you. They need to understand how much they can benefit out of it, how important it is. Otherwise, the value is not going to be transferred. And this is the key for us to learn, that we are transferring value, not just transferring, not just, oh, you know, here's a Picasso, have it. If somebody doesn't know the value of a Picasso, not only of the painting, not only of the monetary value, but also the entire story and the process and everything that kind of like went into the play, to them it's just going to be some, whatever, scratch on a paper, right? And this is kind of like where this education and ability to have and convey this knowledge is going to really be important. It also comes to some family traditions of a sort. Maybe something in a family is going to be passed down as a result. It could be also some kind of like inheritance that is done not because somebody died, but you're getting it maybe ahead of time. It could be a painting of a sort. It could be a specific book or a rug. I don't know why these items are coming to me. I'm just seeing them flashing before my eyes over here. So it's going to be one of the months that are not necessarily super exciting, but they are more like into, okay, so where do I put my roots? So for example, for me, because now I'm in a new environment, I reopened my shop over here. It feels like that I'm going to be setting a new stage in which direction I really want to go. And, you know, I'm going to be listening to my instincts and then kind of like sticking to it going forward. And something similar is going to be really, really important. Barbie, what is like, I mean, serving over there? So that's nice. Aqua moons, we have aqua moons, guys. And you know, guys, my ascendant now changed. I mean, Libra is always going to be my ascendant because that's the original from the birthplace. But as I have moved around the world quite extensively, I can say at this stage, I had my ascendant from being Gemini and Cancer, and now it's Leo. So it's also my Leo is my moon, so it's kind of like a little bit messy when you have Aquarius or some sign. And here's the tribe, and this kind of like comes back to family and sticking to the people who truly really care for you. And even in family, this is really rare these days, I have to say. And this is what it says: community, belonging, being seen and understood by others, like-minded connections, a sense of family and friendship, knowing your place in the world. As far as relationship message, if there is a relationship, it could be somebody who is Gemini, it could be somebody who is know-it-all, it could be somebody who is mesmerizing, who is having a very agile mind. But to us, we are going to approach this a little bit differently. We are going to look in their ability to feel as grounded, not just like that really quick kind of like wit that we usually get attracted to. So let's see what it says here. It says you're discovering the essential qualities that you share with another, and perhaps also those you don't share. There are times when you follow and the other person leads, and times when you lead and the other follows. The appearance of this card points to the importance of learning the proper quote-unquote dance between you and another. Accepting the truth that everyone has flaws is part of that dance. Yet, you're also being asked to be aware of the dynamics that you don't want to repeat. You are in the perfect place to make changes in order to experience the best version of who you can be together. And that makes sense, I guess. You know, like, I mean, the qualities brought to the table, and maybe this is why this initial, let's call it struggle is happening, because that adjustment has to happen in order for things to flow better, right? You need to kind of like spend time for communication and kind of like understand kind of like what is really happening. As long as this is respectful, things can really happen. So let me see, Chris said, well, I was thinking how Canadian pheasants must be fat and out of shape if they can only fly 30 meters. Pheasants here can fly nearly out of sight, although they glide a long ways at the end. You haven't been here, right? When did I show this? Yeah, I will show you.
Birdie, birdie.
I was recording this morning with a pheasant. He's not really fat, but he could be a baby pheasant.
Birdie, birdie, birdie. Where's birdie, birdie?
Can you see Safi over here in the shadow?
Birdie, birdie.
There he is. Lunch is walking right on my front lawn. I never tried pheasant, I really have to say. Like now when I see something live, I just really even wouldn't want to try. But it is what it is. Okay, so who is next? Next one is Taurus. Taurus. So who is left after Taurus? Would be Leo is going last. Okay, so Taurus. Let's put your stamp over here. Let's get your here. And let's see what we have for you. Interestingly, we have Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo for finale, almost like all fixed signs. So Taurus, you go first. So Taurus, again, Magician is showing up. So looks like lots of people will be going into... No, Barbie, we are going with Taurus first. Oh, you have Magician, you're having a Fool, Six of Water, which is good. Oh, which is good, which is okay. And look, you also have the Justice. So Taurus, something massively major is happening in your life. That means making decisions on your own. Maybe you were asking or hoping for somebody else's input, right? You have this messenger of air, And that's kind of like that stalking quality in people, and people, it could be that somebody is, it could be you, kind of like spying on somebody, trying to find the information. But I don't think it's you because of these surrounding cards. So you have three major arcanas. So this is God's card, and then you have a karma card over here, and you have magician. But look at this, like you have 1 0 1 1, and this is literally kind of like a call. It's a binary call, and something happening, asking for much higher abilities, and kind of like do not deal with emotional things. So you need to raise yourself over things, and it's going to be some appearances of things from the past. But it's asking you to almost like I said in the past reading, it's a dance. For you, it's going to go forward, backward, jump, forward, backward, jump. Kind of like it's going to be a little bit of not going in a straight line, if you wish, and you're going to be sidetracked with some emotional inputs. It looks like almost like somebody from the past is going to show up, and it's going to introduce huge level of emotional upheaval, right? Because both Six of Water and Messenger of Air actually do have this quality. It's somebody who is almost like blaming you. You did this to me. How could you do this to me? And I have done just something good to you. So you have to stick to what you want. This also can talk about the legal principle, even though I only have justice, not to have corresponding cards. But this could mean some also miscommunication of some sort, or missing messages, if you wish, right? The Fool is talking about the new beginnings, and it's talking about that you're ready for something new, and you just want to shake everything off of some sort. But even though you have such a really great potential, it looks like this potential is sometimes going to be hard to grasp, because whenever you kind of like feel you're back on track, something shows up that you need to deal with, and you sidetracked for quite a long time, and almost like for a week at a time. So also, you're probably trying to get answers and trying to set things straight, but it's almost like impossible, because you're not getting people who are willing to help you, who are giving you proper answers, who are acting overly bureaucratically, if you wish, and just kind of like treating you down of a sort. But this is all here clearly communicated. This is kind of like a part of this bigger message, and this bigger message is this is what is meant to be. This person somehow is basically reflecting some qualities of yours, how possibly you do come or did come across to somebody else, and it's giving you ability to kind of like be in a position where you can now understand how the other side feels. So it's kind of like improving your emotional capacity or your emotional intelligence here as well. So it's giving you opportunity to learn. If you do not learn it, you'll be stuck in this cycle. It's just like tornado that never stops. It just kind of circulates around you, right? So if you learn, okay, so if it circulates this way, I better go that way, instead of like moving continuously around this is kind of like the message of this month, that you really need to kind of like do that, and you really need to go in that direction. So here you have a change in the wind, talking about this tornado, and talking about these messages of air, right? This is like where we really kind of like are. So the change is going to be impossible for you unless you're strategic. And it says a sense that unseen change has been initiated. Preparation for the storm, awareness that your plans are not on firm ground, feeling a shift. I was reading feeling like a shit, so that I think is valid too. Uncertainty about which direction the winds will blow. When this applies to relationship, it could be people coming into your life that are causing this upheaval, right? People are in the form of letters, in the form of phone calls, because clearly the air is over here, and those messages are kind of like flying through the air. So this is what it says. Relationships go through periods of where partners seem out of sync with each other, and stormy emotions and moods threaten to take down the ship. Perhaps someone has a change of heart and leaves. These rough seas offer opportunities for mutual growth, a way for you to understand your own heart better and to know what you need to be truly happy. Rest assured that whatever is happening now, good will come from it. Take temporary shelter and remove yourself from drama. The air will clear and everything will be fresh and new again. This too shall pass. So this is clearly a message that something really big is happening in your life, but it's also asking for your interaction, that you actually act in your best interest, in the highest interest of everybody, versus then react, which will actually take you off the course that you are meant to be on. So this is a karmic shift, guys, that is asking you to resolve something. Justice is coming up, meaning it's a positive thing, but it's a kind of positive thing only if you accomplish the lesson, which that lesson is like deal with other people's needs, and how you deal with that would be really, really important. And let's see, the last is going to be Leo. So let's put Leo's stamp over here. And let's see what the other fixed sign has to teach us over here. So, my dear Leo, Sally says, really hot here in Florida. We actually have a really beautiful weather. That's what I really like over here. Toronto is turning tropical almost, like if you wish. I know that you guys don't consider Canada as a tropical place, but here it's kind of like Maritimes. It's Atlantic, close by, just a 20 minutes drive. Actually, the river that comes to Moncton is basically Salt River, and you can see the tide. You can see this broad tide twice a day coming in like whoosh and coming out, and taking all the mud from the shores in, and they're calling it the Chocolate River. But it's just like amazing to see that this is happening to the river, right? So okay, my dear Leo, let's see what we have here for you. Oops. And we have Page of Fire. This could be you. We have Five of Air. Could be reappearance of somebody from the past. This one wanted to come out, and this one just jumped out. So Queen of Air, Five of Air. Something plus, something minus, right? So it's going to be somebody who will... the Queen of Air reverse, let's start with this one, can be upsetting event, could be upsetting time. Queen of Air is the proverbial Queen of Swords who gets pissed off. So she's quiet and nice, but she has bad days. And when she has a bad day, she knows she has to be on her own because she can create havoc. Not so much that she wants to be mean or dangerous, but it's just like that inner life of the inner herds that have been buried in her do come out in those situations, and it's the best for not being around her, and it's best for her to kind of like deal with that on her own. And since you're not this Queen of Air, unless you're this Queen of Air, unless you need to kind of like air some stuff or even talk about some dirty laundry, or there's like something behind the back happening, because there's like a lots of behind the back things or communication that is very uncomfortable or harsh or hard to kind of like accept, right? Versus like on this end, it almost looks like that there are like waves that will be coming this month. So, because Page of Fire is enthusiasm, is being eager to kind of like jump into kind of like new things, and you jump and you get a really bad feedback, right? And it usually happens many times. It's completely unjust. You start a new business and people talk you down, oh, it's never going to succeed, and don't even bother trying it. And maybe they speak a kind of like a morsel of truth that is really hard, but with kind of like pushing the stone down on you and throwing the stone at you, they're really clearly not helping, right? And I don't know if people are trying to think they're protecting you, but truly they're just speaking their own inability to deal with their own negativity, right? But it's really hard when you're going up the hill and like people are throwing stones at you, and that's kind of like going to feel at times. So the good news after this kind of like negativity that I'm telling you that you'll be dealing with, the good news is that you'll be dealing with that really well. You will put a brave face, and in fact you're not going to really be affected with that. I really have to tell you, this Five of Air can be that really negative quality of somebody winning. You're going to say, no, you want to win, just win, fine, you win. And they will not know what to do because they wanted to get this moment, ha 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 ha, and you're not giving them that just by being completely, I guess, non-reactive, if you wish, right? And So maybe they're turning into this Queen of Air, trying to get the rays out of you, and you're still not reacting because as a magician, you are basically stronger than this Queen of Air. Maybe it's going to be just like few different sides of you that you'll be dealing with, that you're going to say, oh my God, what is it? Am I kind of like this way or this way? It's going to feel like a little bit bipolar month for you, my dear Leo, because this is like a little bit of an immature energy. This is like also like some, you know, Machiavellian kind of like works at play over here. Queen of Swords is like having, you know, her PMS, and it's not the best timing to kind of like come and visit. But Magician is here. He has answer to everything. He has tool for everything. So the all thing that you need to think while going through this month is just this. I can handle this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So you don't really need to worry yourself with everything that is really happening through. And you don't have to absorb it thinking that somehow you have caused it, something you have attracted, that somehow that you need to even respond. People are people. They come in all kinds of like flavors and flares and like interests. You simply kind of like need to be. Magician is a wonderful quality, and it's Mercury driven. So Mercury, and how Mercury kind of like progresses through Libra, and meaning like it's asking for justice, it's asking for balance, it's asking for things to be set right. If something hasn't been addressed, it needs to be addressed. So you're going to feel some days, oh my gosh, why this? But this just means it's kind of like bringing stuff up. Just think about of this reading that you have hired a cleaning company to kind of like organize your place and clean your place. And while they're doing that, you're giving them rain of your entire house. So they're coming and pulling things out, and you're like, oh, I didn't think that you will do it. Just don't touch this. Don't touch. And all of a sudden, they're like revealing so many things that are forgotten and tucked away, and they have to be dealt with. They have to be sorted out once more. Are they going to be garbage? Or are going to not be garbage? So maybe somebody just kind of like wants to kind of like get some information from you. This also can indicate that somebody else is getting a promotion, for example, if this is at work. This also can indicate that you find a partner who has a really harsh edge, who are maybe really nice people, but has an edge that is really hard to deal with, kind of a thing, right? So that's going to be really interesting here as well. So see, Barb put her foot down, but I still need to and want to do the relationship oracle for you guys. And it's serendipity. Oh my gosh, a couple of days ago I just couldn't even speak for some reason. And I'm just like mesmerized with people here switching between French and English without any accent, just like that. And even when they talk to you, say, would you prefer French and English? It's amazing, and they're all bilingual. So it says opportunity allied with readiness, the awareness of synchronicity, luck, and good fortune appearing as signs and symbols. That's right, there's going to be lots of signs and lots of symbols carrying on your notebook this month, because these signs and symbols are clues for the future. So it says a magical alignment of events, and your relationship message is Spirit has a plan, and that plan is to place you in front of the right person at the right time. You have met or are about to meet someone vitally important to your journey, someone Spirit wants to bring into your life. Only divine forces can plan this meeting. It's out of your hands. So pay attention to the signs Spirit presents. So that's it for the readings. Let's go for additional questions that you ask with the doors. So guys, think about the yes and no question, and think about something that is rather short term. I mean, I do see long term solutions here as well, but let's see what we get with my leveling deck over here. So let's do doors 2 and focus. All focus on your question. Okay, door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. Okay. If you guys thought of a door number 1 as an answer to your question, you're getting 6 of Wands. It was door number 3 the last time, which means yes, it means victory. It means this is going to come relatively fast, within 6 days to 6 weeks, something like that. And it's going to feel good. This can also talk about relationships and sexuality and kind of like really feeling that you want, especially if you're fighting or having a struggle with some other, let's say, individuals, and it was like more of them involved, then you are going to be the one taking basically the prize home, if you wish. If you chose the door number 2, you have 3 of Swords, and it's a big no. Whatever you're asking, it's going to be difficult. It's kind of like hard. It can be heartbreaking. It's not good for your soul. It's one of those lessons that it feels like an impact and stays with us. We need to kind of like heal. But it's also, when we are on the other side, something that changes us completely, because we have a different perspective and we had to grow as a result of it. Usually it means that it's not us who are making this decision, it's somebody else who makes the decision. And the decision is not to join, the decision is not to create this union, because whatever, they have different plans or whatever. But the 3 of Swords is like usually something not defined, and this is why they are very difficult, because we really don't get answers over here. But you do have a pre-answer right now, so you're not going to believe me, but I'm going telling you the best is just to walk not only in a different direction, but in the opposite direction of this, because you are like walking into the world of pain over here. And the number 3 is like Knight of Pentacles. This is a very friendly card that is showing a promise. It is showing a long-term promise of some sort, but it's not really happening. It's not really happening in a kind of like fast way. This is a long-term card, and it can take a year to fully percolate, to fully kind of come to a conclusion that this is kind of like what you want and how you want to deal with that. But it's very positive. And the negative aspect of that would be that in that long period of time, you have lots of back and forth where you can change how you emotionally feel and how you emotionally position yourself toward that question to move that forward. So if you're still there in a while, then this is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So for example, you have a friendship, this friendship can turn into a relationship. For example, if you are an important person at work, or you want to progress, it's going to progress over time, but you're proving day in and day out how solid you are, how reliable you are, and these are the qualities that are kind of buried in this card. So this is it for me resurfacing, guys, for the first time. Thank you very much. I have learned how to position the cards, where to position them, in order for me to have space and to feel comfort with everybody. And am I still having a Leo? I'm still having a Leo right here during the reading. But anyway, it's good. We had the support of a solid sign, fixed sign. Of course, I cannot go now back to my other screen again. Mercury retrograde this morning didn't let me start because it said I have a wrong codes for it, which means, oh, there it is. Finally it allowed me. It just takes about 50 tries for me to go back. So guys, when is it, like, when do we want to do it next? I'm not so sure if I'm going to do every 2 weeks or every week, but I'm going to aim it for the next Saturday, if nothing else, for something really quick, maybe quick 3 cards to come through. I do have something in mind what I want to go forward to. I don't want to share it yet because it is Mercury retrograde after all, and I want to format that situation better. So next week is going to be a little bit better for me because I will not have a night shift of workers, so which means that if nothing else, even though I'm tired already when they are gone because I'm technically working with them all day long, I still have time to think and to absorb all of these ideas that I have and see how they would work. So guys, I wish you all the best. Let's reconnect next Saturday and hope for the best. And let me see, what do I play as a music that is like something sorry, something nice. And where are my other songs? This one is called Empire Seasons. Is the same composer like the first one that I opened with Nebular Focus. So let's try with this one. Is it still the very kind of like airy? I guess it. Oh, I like this song. So let's leave it a few more seconds, guys. It was so nice to reconnect. It was so nice to see you. If you guys didn't give me a like, please do. Exactly 2 hours, you see? I didn't manage to pull 2 hours without equipment crashing or anything else, so it was hoping for the best. So I hope everybody also has a great week, and please come back to touch base to see your reading again. Don't forget to check your ascendant and to check your moon sign, because they are also very closely connected to you. I also find that all the inner planets like Venus, Mars are equally affecting you, so that's also good to check. So guys, love you, talk to you soon, and I'll chat with you next Saturday. So I wish you all the best and have a wonderful week. We are going to have a nice weather, and I hope the same is going to be happening wherever you are. Love you and all the best.